eviction of opposition CDC from its national headquarters this Saturday, August 23. Police IG Gregory Coleman urged members and supporters of the party to demonstrate statesmanship. The U.S. government, through its embassy near Monrovia, commends the government of Liberia for honoring the concession agreement of the Liberia Traffic Management despite citizen backlashes about the U.S. invested company's operation. Former Commerce Minister Ami Mudat calls on national government to impose a ban on gambling and sports betting across the country, says gambling games have a negative impact on the vulnerable and poor Liberians. And away from home, 9 bodies have been exhumed from fresh graves suspected to be linked to Kenya's notorious starvation cult. These plus the news bulletin, our international developments, and our package. But to take a very short break, I'll be right back. At this juncture, we cross over to Stephen Compton with the news bulletin.
The Liberia National Police has announced its preparedness to enforce a mandate from the 6th Judicial Circuit Court ordering the evasion of opposition Congress for Democratic Change from its national headquarters this Saturday, August 23. The court recently issued a writ of possession in favor of the parties that the property's rightful owners, directing the LMP to assist in executing the evasion of the CDC from its headquarters. Speaking Friday, Inspector General of Police Gregory Coleman stated that the police involvement in the enforcement is both constitutional and necessary to uphold the rule of law, maintain public order, and protect lives and property. Ajit Coleman called on the CDC as one of Liberia's major political parties to demonstrate statesmanship by respecting the court's decision. He stressed that adherence to the law is not a sign of weakness, but a show of leadership and a commitment to democratic principles. He also appealed to CDC partisans and supporters to remain kind, peaceful, and law-abiding, warning that political disagreement must never be allowed to jeopardize Liberia's hard-earned peace. Reaffirming the LMP's neutrality in political matters, Coleman emphasized that the maintenance of peace and stability is a shared responsibility that must be upheld by all citizens. Despite ongoing public outcry, the United States government has expressed appreciation for the Liberian government's continued commitment to honoring its concession agreement with a U.S. investor through the Liberia Traffic Management Initiative. In recent months, commercial driver and some employees of the Ministry of Transport have staged nationwide protests urging the government to terminate the agreement. Protesters argue that the concession has negative impact on ordinary Liberians, citing what they describe as excessive traffic fines. Alleged involvement of Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman as a shareholder in the venture delayed mainstreamed by state security officers and the weakening of the Transport Ministry's function. In response to the concern, the U.S. government issued a statement acknowledging Liberia's effort to maintain its obligation under the agreement. The statement emphasized that the United States government remains committed to strengthening the economic partnership that promotes investment, fuel economic growth, and create opportunities for the Liberian people. The release followed a visit by U.S. Chargé d'Affaires Joseph Zajunin to Liberia's acting Minister of State Mamaka Berete, where discussion focused on advancing trade relations and enhancing bilateral investment opportunities. Former Commerce Minister Amin Muda has stressed the need for the government to impose a ban on gambling and sports betting across the country. The former minister's call follows the government's decision to ban the sale and use of shisha, and also strict mandate on tramadol in response to the country's worsening drug crisis. Meanwhile, reacting to the government's decision to combat illicit drug trade and consumption, the former Liberian minister says gambling and sports betting has a devastating impact on the Liberian society. According to him, gambling games have a negative impact on the vulnerable and poor, offering them false hope for a better life only to plunge them into deeper despair. He highlighted the alarming consequences of the activities, including depression, anxiety, addiction, crime, and drug abuse, among others. Mudad also emphasized that these issues not only affect individuals, but also have a ripple effect on family, community, and the society alike. Dozens of disadvantaged youth are demanding better care at the rehabilitation center in Johnsonville. Rex Yu, commonly known as Zogo, in an interview today expressed frustration over their living condition following their arrest by state security officers and called on national government to improve the better their living condition at a temporary rehabilitation center where they are currently in Johnsonville. They outline the lack of basic necessities, including food, clothing, water, and proper sanitation, among other things. They claim that since their arrival at the rehabilitation center, they have not been provided with adequate meals, decent living arrangement, or opportunity to maintain personal hygiene. Despite these challenges, the disadvantaged group acknowledged the rehabilitation process as a critical step toward transforming their lives and achieving a more decent status. They are hopeful that the government's effort will lead to their rehabilitation and reintegration into society. Salala District Youth Association, in collaboration with the district student union, have issued a press statement regarding the recent incarceration of one of its youth, Ed Bondo. Reading the press statement on Friday in Totota, Salala District, Bon County, the student union president Paul Kimin Kekula said Representative Muammar Breeze Mensah is urging using her position to weaponize free press in the district. Kekula emphasized that the district lawmaker is suppressing and incarcerating her citizens instead of focusing on the developmental needs of the district. Recently, it is alleged that the district representative ordered the arrest of Esida Bondo over a Facebook post he made during the 2023 general and presidential elections, alleging, allegedly accusing her of being responsible of the death of some individuals in the district. Still with more developments, the majority members of the legislative reporters have endorsed the candidacy of Tim Colley in the pending legislative election. Reading the endorsement statement at the Capitol building on Friday, the chairperson of Legislative, Obadiah Johnson, said the majority members of the legislative reporter had concluded that journalist Emmanuel Colley of the Liberian Broadcasting System and his team are best suited to lead the institution into a new era of professional excellence, unity, and accountability. Johnson stressed that Tim Colley has demonstrated exceptional leadership within Legispool and the Liberian media community the services in various capacities, adding that it has been marked by integrity, decisiveness, among other things. It also indicated that Tim Corley has consistently championed the need of capacity building programs, training, workshop, and mentorship opportunities for journalists with a particular focus on legislative reporting of cornerstone of legislative mandate. He further stressed that Tim Corley has presented a clear and achievable roadmap for strengthening legislative institutional capacity, expanding membership benefit, and fostering stronger engagement with the legislators and the public for the benefit of not only members of the institution. Responding to the endorsement statement, Kennedy Emmanuel Corley lauded the leadership of Legis Poole for endorsing his candidacy at the House of Representatives and vowed to bring about unity and make the institution more vibrant when elected. Bond County Mental Health Coordinator urged the government to establish rehabilitation center to combat Liberia drug crisis. Speaking to reporters on Thursday, that Kemon Colley, the mental health coordinator at the Bond County Health Center, called on the government of Liberia and citizens to take a passionate and practical approach to addressing the growing problem of illegal drug and substance abuse in the country. Colley emphasized that drug abuse should be treated as a national emergency. He also urged the government to invest in building rehabilitation centers across the country to provide proper treatment for users rather than focusing solely on arresting them. According to him, arresting consumers instead of dealers will only lead to more deaths in the country. He noted that many incidents are caused by the dangerous mixture of different drugs that have devastating effects on the human body. The Riverside County Magistrate Court has dropped criminal charges against journalists Eric Opaduo and Methuselah Gay. The the court recently brought down charges including criminal contempt of court and criminal coercion against the two Liberian journalists following their publication of alleged corruption within the Yapa Town Magistrate Court. However, the court's decision, which was delivered by Magistrate Deba on August 20th, according to a release from the Press Union of Liberia, the court's decision comes after legal argument through its legal representation, Anthony Bruce Bowen, and consented advocacy effort by the union. The release noted that despite the court's decision to drop the criminal contempt charges, the magistrate has imposed a minimum fine of 50 United States dollars on each of the journalists and has required them to submit informal and written apologies to the court. While the union's statement also added that the court mandated the journalists to retract their allegation of co-bribery. Release further quoted PUL's President Julio Canova saying that the court's decision emphasizes the importance of the Kamara Abdullah Kamara Act of Press Freedom and Liberia's commitment to the Declaration of Table Mountain. The news bulletin is back to you.
Stephen, continue with the news bulletin. The news bulletin is a regular featured here on King's Newsroom. What if you just joined us? A reminder you're listening to King's Newsroom, the 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Today is Friday, August 22nd, 2025, and I'm Newton to representing stories we following this evening. Liberia National Police announces its preparedness to enforce the 6th Judicial Circuit Course Monday, following the eviction of opposition CDC from its national headquarters this Saturday, August 23rd. Police IG Gregory Coleman urged members and supporters of the party to demonstrate statesmanship. U.S. government through its embassy near Monrovia commends the government of Liberia for honoring the concession agreement of the Liberia Traffic Management despite citizens' backlashes about the U.S. invested company's operation. Former Commerce Minister Amin Mudat calls on national government to impose a ban on gambling and sports betting across the country, says gambling games have a negative impact on the vulnerable and poor Liberians. The way from home 9 bodies have been exhumed, from fresh graves suspected of being linked to Kenya's notorious starvation cult. These plus many more. We take a very short break. We'll come back. We'll bring you the voices of the news makers. On this development right now, the Liberian National Police has announced its preparedness to enforce a mandate from the 6th Judicial Circuit Court following the eviction of the opposition Congress for Democratic Change from its national headquarters this Saturday, August 23rd. The court recently issued a writ of possession in favor of the property's rightful owners, directing the LMP to assist in executing the eviction of the CDC from its premises. Speaking Friday, Inspector General of Police Gregory Coleman stated that the police involvement in the enforcement is both constitutional and necessary to uphold the rule of law, maintain public order, and protect lives and property.
At this critical moment in our nation's journey of peace and democracy, we are reminded that the rule of law is the foundation upon which stability and justice stand. The recent decision of the 6th Judicial Circuit Court of Liberia regarding the eviction of the Congress for Democratic Change from its headquarters is a lawful order and must be respected. The 6th Judicial Circuit Court of Liberia has requested the Liberian National Police to assist in the execution of a writ of possession in the case mentioned above. Said action will be executed on the morning of Saturday, August 23rd, 2025. As a professional and impartial institution, the Liberian National Police reaffirms its neutrality and commitment to uphold the law without fear or favor. Our role is not political, but constitutional, to protect lives, preserve the public order, and ensure that the lawful decisions of the court are carried out in a peaceful manner. We're calling on the Congress for Democratic Change as one of Liberia's influential political institutions to demonstrate leadership, responsibility, and respect for the authority of the courts. Compliance with the law is not a sign of weakness, but a powerful example of statesmanship and a commitment to the democratic process. We urge all partisans and supporters of the CDC to remain calm, peaceful, and law-abiding. Liberia has come way too far in strengthening its democracy for us to allow political disagreement to derail the peace we have worked so hard to build. The CDC has played a central role in our nation's democratic journey. It now has an opportunity to lead by example by choosing peace over confrontation, dialogue over disruption, and respect for the rule of law over defiance. Let us remember that upholding the rule of law honors the sacrifices of our past, safeguards the future for generations to come. Liberia belongs to all of us, and peace remains our shared responsibility.
Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman, they're speaking. Dozens of disadvantaged youths are demanding better care at the rehabilitation center in Johnsonville. The rescue youth, commonly known as Locals, in an interview today, expressed frustration over their living condition following their arrest by state security officers and called on national government to provide better care and living conditions at a temporary rehabilitation center where they reside in Johnsonville, Morovia. They outlined the lack of basic needs, including food, clothing, water, and proper sanitation, among other things.
After we just left, but I can tell the church, oh, no treatment, no food. After we left here, I want for you to help me in the process. I went to talk to my pa. Let him come to my my pa need me same day. Let him come to my health. I dying. Say, boy, bro, I want you.
So y'all been someone to protect us here. Number two is the medical. We weak. We still with June from yesterday up to now. Then we are appealing to the government again. If you live in the substance, your whole stomach can be empty. In the morning, by 8 o'clock, you got to eat. You got to eat healthy and take bath and sleep. At least you get rest, you take treatment, you rest.
Since somebody 10 years, 15 years, one medication, one pin tablet, you know, to went through last night. So my sleep, our back, our joints, everything up to 10 days morning. 10 o'clock before the bar, 120 food for the bear, one smoke about left on that.
Dozens of disadvantaged youths demanding better care at the rehabilitation center in Johnsonville. Salana District Youth Association, in collaboration with the District Student Union, have issued a press statement regarding the recent incarceration of one of its youth, Exodus Bondo. Within a press statement on Friday in Tututa, Salala District, Brown County, the Student Union President Paul Kemi Kekula said Representative Mama Brice Mensah is using opposition to weaponize free press in the district. Kekula emphasized that the district lawmaker is suppressing and incarcerating her citizens instead of focusing on the developmental needs of the district.
Salala District, Brown County, we the young people in collaboration with the student community condemns in the strongest thing the shameless abuse of power by our Mama Brice, representative of Salala District, Brown County, who has chosen to weaponize authority, wealth, and influence to silence critical voices in the youth and student community through arbitrary arrest and unlawful detention. Mr. Samuel Exodus Bono, a student and practicing journalist of Salala District, was arbitrarily arrested, incarcerated, and forwarded to court on instructions of Mama Brice Mensah, who was an alleged Facebook comment that she accused him of insulting her. Mr. Exodus Bono has since denied every allegation, stating that at no time he has made any Facebook comment insulting or accusing the lawmaker of any wrongdoing. The matter has since been in court since 2023 prior to the elections. While the matter is still pending in court at the Beaumont's Magisterial Court informant, with both parties legally represented by their team of lawyers, and with no notice of assignment for hearing, the lawmaker has resorted in using power and money to influence the actions, for the constant arrest and incarceration of the young journalist Exodus Bono. It is sad that 2 days ago, she again influenced the arrest and incarceration of the young man Exodus Bono without following the required legal proceedings as per the civil procedure laws of Liberia. We, the young people in the student community of Salala District, we see this as an infringement of Mr. Bono's rights and the attempt to silence and intimidate critical voices within our district from speaking out the ills of the lawmaker leadership. This is not leadership. It is a tyrannic hiding beyond the mask of power. The unlawful detention of citizens for daring to speak out is a direct attack on democracy. The human rights, the dignities of our district, as well as the abuse of the Constitution of Liberia, gave this right of freedom of speech of our Republic of Liberia. Article 15 of our Constitution of Liberia gave right to freedom of speech.
He's the district student union president Paul Kemi Kekula there speaking. Majority members of the Legislative Reporters Association have endorsed the candidacy of Tim Colley, independent legislative pool election. Reading the endorsement statement at the Capitol held on Friday, the chairperson of Legispool, Obadiah Johnson, said majority members of Legispool reporters have concluded that journalist Emmanuel Colley of the Liberal Broadcasting System and his team as best suited to lead the institution into a new era of professional excellence, unity, and accountability. Johnson stressed that Colley has demonstrated exceptional leadership within Legispool, the Liberian media community, and the services in various capacities, adding that it has been marked by the integrity and the ability to build consensus for the benefit of journalists assigned at the House of Representatives.
We have unanimously concluded that Mr. Colley of the state-owned Liberia Broadcasting System is running mate D. Lehman Colley of Women's TV and Gibson G. of Punch FM and candidate for the Secretary General position are best suited to lead Legispool into a new era of professional excellence, unity, and accountability. Our endorsement is grounded in the following key considerations. 1. Proven leadership experience. Tim Colley has demonstrated exceptional leadership within Legispool and the wider Liberian media community. Their services in various capacities have been marked by integrity, decisiveness, and the ability to build consensus across diverse interests. 2. Commitment to professional development. Tim Colley has consistently championed the need for capacity building programs, training workshops, and mentorship opportunities for journalists with a particular focus on legislative reporting, a cornerstone of Legispool's mandate. 3. Vision for organizational growth. Mr. Colley and his team have presented a clear and achievable roadmap for strengthening Legispool's institutional capacity, expanding membership benefits, and fostering stronger engagement with the legislature and the public for the benefit of not only members of the institution, but Liberia and its citizens in particular.
Responding to the endorsement statement, candidate Emmanuel Colley lauded the leadership of Legispool for endorsing his candidacy at the House of Representatives and vowed to bring unity and make the institution more vibrant.
Emmanuel Tatolu Colley, a young journalist coming up from the trenches of Capital, from a community radio broadcaster to a state media figure. Today, we are humbled by these endorsements. We call on every member of Legispool to support our vision to rescue Legispool from the issue of deficit in leadership. For us, we've not come to say we'll build schools or hospitals. We've come to say we'll ensure that trainings we provide.
Emmanuel Colley there speaking. Earlier, you heard the voice of Obadiah Johnson. What if you just joined us with the time 1:30? A reminder, you're listening to King's News Broom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. Stories we follow in this evening. Liberian National Police announces its preparedness to enforce the 6th Judicial Circuit Court's mandate following the eviction of opposition CDC from its national headquarters this Saturday, August 23rd. Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman urged members and supporters of the party to demonstrate statesmanship. U.S. government through its embassy near Monrovia commends the government of Liberia for honoring the concession agreement with the Liberia Traffic Management despite citizen backlashes about the U.S. invested company's operation. Former Commerce Minister Ami Mudat calls on national government to impose a ban on gambling and sports betting because the country says gambling games have a negative impact on the vulnerable and poor Liberians. Away from home, 9 bodies have been exhumed from fresh graves suspected to be linked to Kenya's notorious starvation court. We'll take another break. When we come back, we continue with more forces. A Brown County Mental Health Coordinator urges government to establish rehabilitation centers to combat Liberia's drug crisis. Speaking to reporters on Thursday, Dickerman Colley, the mental health coordinator at the Broom County Health Team, called on the government of Liberia and citizens to take a compassionate and practical approach to addressing the growing problem of illegal drugs and substance abuse in the country. Colley emphasized that drug abuse should be treated as a national emergency and urged the government to invest in building rehabilitation centers across the country to provide proper treatment for users rather than focusing solely on arresting them.
Take the stimulant. We are very serious in this country as a nation, as a country, to fight substance abuse. And now, all of the counties you have had big center with 3 manpower, 3 to be there. As you boss in the ghetto, those guys in the ghetto are victims. If only we will consider them as victims, then we know how to approach them. Among the victims, they are perpetrators because people go to sell and they are dead. And the guys that go to buy the drugs, they are victims. They are already addicted. It's the only way they will survive. It's the only way they will. So they are victims. They are not perpetrators. But see how we are treating them. We are not treating them as victims. We are treating them as perpetrators. So I'm saying our approach has fundamental problem. I came here several times. I said it is time that we invest. That investment will, let's start having seminar to train people. How if somebody even goes off, what you can do to resuscitate them, where you will carry them for that mission. After you have treated them and what we call flush the drugs from that detoxification, where you will carry them, what are they need to be doing so that they can be focused, so that they can go back to drug? Because any male or woman that is addicted, there's a serious problem on the brain. That cannot be repaired easily. That why for us, we never say this person has recovered from addiction. It's wrong in our training, it's wrong in our profession, and that's a wrong jargon to say the person has recovered. You always say the person is in recovery. Because anytime because that is disease, the brain is now marked. So even by just sitting.
He's Broom County Mental Health Coordinator, Dickerman Colley speaking. And away from Liberia, 9 bodies have been exhumed from fresh graves suspected to be linked to Kenya's notorious starvation court, one of the worst ever cases of court-related mass death. More than 400 bodies were found in 2023 in the remote Shakaholat forest inland from the coastal town of Malindi. It is believed they were followers of self-proclaimed Pastor Paul Mackenzie, who is alleged to have encouraged them to starve themselves to death. These exhumations were ordered in July after the disappearance of some children triggered a new probe. Prosecutors say 11 people had been arrested in connection with the case, including 3 who were followers of Michelle McKinsey at the time of Shakahola Forest massacre. On that note, this is how I would like to go home this evening on this edition of King's News Broom, a 45 minutes news presentation about Liberia, Africa, and the rest of the world. But just before we go home this evening, let's remind you of stories who've been following. Liberia National Police announces its preparedness to enforce the 6th Judicial Circuit Court's mandate following the eviction of the opposition CDC from its national headquarters this Saturday, August 23rd, as Police IG Gregory Coleman urged members and supporters of the party to demonstrate statesmanship. U.S. government through its embassy near Monrovia commends the government of Liberia for honoring the concession agreement of the Liberia Traffic Management despite citizen backlashes about the U.S. invested company's operation. Former Commerce Minister Ame Motan calls on national government to impose a ban on gambling and sports betting across the country, says gambling games have a negative impact on the vulnerable and poor Liberians. And away from home, 9 bodies have been exhumed from fresh graves suspected to be linked to Kenya's notorious starvation court. These are stories we follow here this evening on King's News Broom. Stephen Compton was here with the news bulletin, while Marvin sat at controls and coordinated the sound. Better still join us Monday as King's News Broom takes a weekend break with another fresh edition of the program. My name is Newton Tukba. I presented this edition of the program. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye-bye.